The real tragedy of Matsui Kazuha is that the quality everyone loved about him, his unwavering kindness, was the precise weapon that ultimately destroyed his managerial career. We always focus on the cold win-loss column, but the deeper crisis that forced the Cebu Lions' hand was not a sub-400 winning percentage, but the sudden, irreversible erosion of the clubhouse's competitive soul, a psychological breakdown fueled by too much empathy. And that single defining moment of emotional failure, unseen by the cameras, is what truly sealed his fate. Welcome to 615 Al Dia Baseball, where we dissect the beautiful and brutal side of Nippon professional baseball. And if you believe, like Nabe Q, that success in management is less about statistics and more about possessing the iron will needed to bench or even fire a friend, then stick with us as we unpack the difficult truth about good men in bad situations.
Nabe Q, the respected voice in Japanese baseball commentary, wasn't mincing words when he diagnosed the situation. Matsui Kazuo lacked the managerial management ability. He was an elite human being, kind, trusting, believing in his players implicitly. But that is exactly why he failed the top job. This isn't just a casual observation. It's a profound commentary on the nature of leadership in a high-stakes professional environment.
Matsui's persona, the calm, collected veteran who rarely allowed the media to glimpse his frustration, made him a beloved figure, the kind of man you'd want your son to emulate. He was fantastic at building individual confidence and protecting players from the press. But as Nabe Q articulated, the core failure was his inability to pull the team together through words and disciplined management.
When a team is sinking, drifting rudderless in the lower half of the standings, they don't need a gentle guardian. They need a sharp, unforgiving navigator who can demand immediate course correction. They needed the whip, and Matsui only offered the pillow. Let's introduce Dr. Hiroshi, a veteran analyst known for his brutally objective take on NPB culture, who summarized the critical difference. In baseball, you can't just be the kind uncle.
You need to be the executioner who can bench your star hitter on their birthday if they aren't hustling, and bench them without remorse. Matsui simply couldn't wear that mask of necessary severity. The statistics bear out the result of this soft approach. In the season prior to his dismissal, the Lions, under Matsui, had an abysmal 38. Contrast this with the manager Matsui is constantly compared against, Shinyosuke Abe, who has consistently maintained a 58% winning rate in those same tight situations, demonstrating an intrinsic ability to squeeze maximum competitive effort from his roster when the stakes are highest. This phenomenon is not unique, as the common wisdom suggests. Good men rarely make good managers. The best managers are often viewed as cold, perhaps even tyrannical, because they prioritize the team's success over individual feelings. One current Cebu Lions player, speaking anonymously about the atmosphere, inadvertently confirmed the issue. He never screamed. When we were floating at the bottom with a 7-game losing streak, he'd just nod and say, "Gambare." We needed fire. We needed someone to smash a bat against the wall and force us to look in the mirror. Instead, we felt safe, and honestly, we started taking advantage of his patience. This complacency is the silent killer in professional sports, and it's the direct byproduct of a manager who is too hesitant to impose consequence. Now, we must address the popular counter-narrative, often floated on forums like Nanj, which argues that pinning this failure solely on Matsui's niceness is cheap. The real issue is structural rot within the organization. They claim Matsui was merely a scapegoat for deeper problems, citing the infamous infrastructure lapses, particularly the GM's oversight regarding the Belluna Dome bullpen cooling system, a genuine failure that directly impacted player morale and performance during the grueling summer heat. GM Daisuke is hiding behind Matsui's goodwill, they argue, pointing out that resources and scouting deficiencies were the true culprits. But this line of thinking misses the essential point about elite leadership. Great managers transcend resource limitations. They don't win because the air conditioning is perfect. They win because they instill a psychological resilience that makes players fight harder despite the poor resources.
Matsui's problem wasn't the material, it was the spiritual.
He failed to create a high-pressure culture where underperformance was simply unacceptable, regardless of the heat or the quality of the minor league pipeline. This is where Nabe Q's mention of Abe Shinosuke becomes crucial. Abe represents the necessary archetype, someone capable of projecting cold authority when required, capable of the kind of public discipline that sends a crystal-clear message to the entire roster. The truth is, the internal conflict for Matsui was agonizing. He was fundamentally built to nurture, not to dominate. And the untold story, the plot twist we promised at the start, is the defining moment that made the company realize the decision was utterly inevitable. It wasn't a specific loss, it was the quiet aftermath of the meeting where he was informed of his dismissal. When Matsui gave his impromptu farewell address to his coaching staff and players, he didn't express regret or anger towards the organization. Instead, he apologized to them, genuinely, for not being enough, for not finding the right words, and for letting their season slip away. That singular act of radical, selfless empathy, while deeply noble and highly admirable from a human perspective, proved definitively that he wasn't yet capable of being the necessary tyrant. He was still one of the guys, and therefore incapable of leading them from the top. It was his beautiful, tragic failure, a man too decent for the cruel demands of the manager's chair, accepting the job, perhaps knowing the high risk that his own inherent goodness might be the very thing that ensured his defeat. This clash between the good man and the necessary tyrant is the deepest psychological drama in professional sports management. So, let us know what you think.
Who is the kindest manager in NPB history who utterly failed because of their soft approach, and who was the harshest tyrant who thrived by ruling with an iron fist? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this dissection compelling, smash that like button, share this video with fellow fans, and subscribe to 615 Aldea Baseball for more deep dives into the heart of Japanese baseball.